Hello, friends. Welcome to the Ancient Health Podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Chris Motley. I have Dr. Meg Mill here at the conference where we're talking about longevity. Our good friend Bev said, "Hey, do you think you want to interview?" I was like, "Yes," because one thing we were talking about our conversation before here was like, what do we want to talk about? And first of all, I think that her heart's very warm, you can tell. And so we're going to talk a bit about her. You do so much great work about histamine and digestive health, hormone health for ladies. I think we're going to hit a bit on MTHFR. And for everybody out there, I'll let her explain it as well because I want you guys to get a clear presentation. Because when you look at her work online, she lays it out very clearly. And in fact, like on your post, it's so well written. I mean, do you write those?
You. Yes.
I mean, that's very good.
You.
I'm not kidding. I used to edit when I was in college, and I was like, man, she writes really well. So anyway, I'll stop babbling.
Thank you.
But thank you for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm excited. This is fun.
It's going to be a good one. It's going to be good. Okay, so first of all, with the guests, we always ask, like, tell us about yourself because we love to hear about the story behind, like, your journey, why you chose what you do. I know it's a lot to take in, but I mean, like, just even a preface.
Oh, I have a story.
I love it. I'm here.
I'm ready for it. So I actually graduated with a doctorate in pharmacy. So I was a PharmD, and then I went on to do a residency. And I was practicing as a clinical pharmacist after that. And so I'm in the hospitals, I know the protocols, and there's kind of like two sides to what my journey. And one of them was that I started feeling that people were just surviving, not thriving. I know the protocols, I know what we're doing, why we're doing it. And I always felt like preventative care was the better route, except that here we are putting people on more medications, and then we have to put them on more medications and more medications, and they're not really feeling better. At the same time, I was having a lot of personal health issues. And so we moved around a lot at that time, just because of job changes and things like that. And I would go to a new gastroenterologist. So I was having a lot of GI issues, a lot of anxiety, sleep issues, sensitive to everything. I just never knew what I could eat that was going to set me off. And so I would go to a new doctor and say, like, okay, I have all of these things. And they're like, oh, you're fine. You're the picture of health. And you look great. You're so young. And you just feel so let down. I mean, that's one of the things I want to share most with people is that empowerment to be able to, like, you don't feel well. You're not fine. So then I started as a scientist, as a researcher, I'm like, okay, I'm going to figure out myself what's going on. And so I started doing research and really spent a lot of time really figuring out and that's when I found functional medicine. So I'm like, okay, this is the answer to what I've been looking for all these years. And as soon as I started really doing the things that I work with people on, I started feeling better. It was this amazing health transformation. So I went back and I actually left the field of pharmacy completely. I went back, got certified in functional medicine, opened a virtual practice. So now I have a virtual functional medicine practice. I see people actually all over the world, so it's amazing. So we can help a lot of people.
I mean, truly, I think that they say the best practitioners are those who've gone through the journey themselves.
Yes, because you know what people are feeling, and and when you say you care, it's because it's like I've been there. I've had the anxiety to the point of a panic attack. I've been like I don't even know what I can eat, and it's a terrible place to be, especially when you can't get the answers that you're looking for.
That's a good point when you say you don't, giving people hope and not knowing where the answers are, because people out there watching are going to say, like, I was in that spot where I didn't know what to do. Like when you hit rock bottom, did you know, like, was there a point where you hit rock bottom?
Just like help. I mean, you hear this all the time. I'm sure you hear it too. It's like when people are saying you do testing on them and they're just saying, I just hope you find something. Like, I want this to come back. And you start to feel like, well, I just need this answer. What is going on? Like, please just give me the answer. So, and we always find something.
That's a beautiful thing. It's like when you run a good amount of testing, people at the clinic, they'll say stuff like, well, they ran a lot of tests. I was like, hey, all the information is great. Like, I love it because, like, should I get this test? I just say yes. And especially I have functional medicine doctors in town. And to me now, like the testing, like we're at a longevity conference and it's all about like how much we can like help our bodies grow, get stronger. Now, I always say I don't want to like I say the word butcher. I don't want to butcher this up, but like when we talk about histamine, one of the things I really enjoy about you is like when you say prolonged health, giving people light.
Yes.
And I know there's a lot of women's health that you've helped people and all around the world.
Yes.
One big thing is like we talk about histamine response. There's a lot of inflammation out there, and people are wanting to live longer. And there's also a thing called methylation or MTHFR. So could you take us down the route in the order that you would say, like we want to go down, like you could tell people, we can get you out of inflammation, we can get you out of this histamine.
Yeah, so I'm going to explain to you what histamine actually means and what it does for the body, because I think that that's important in kind of understanding. So histamine is what we call a biogenic amine. So it's something that your body produces naturally and that you actually need. So you need to have histamine in the body, actually, surprisingly, to create inflammation, because it's actually creating the inflammation for a specific response. So when like a pathogen enters your body, you need to be able to get histamine to dilate the blood vessels, to be able to get the other parts of the immune system to that area. But the problem, one of the problems happens is when we are out of balance, we start to get this chronic inflammation. And the chronic inflammation is causing all the other problems that we talk about. So we need to think about what starts to happen is it's all about balance, like a lot of things in the body. So we need to, I'd like to use a bathtub analogy here.
I love analogies.
Okay,
I love them. Okay.
Bathtub.
I love them.
So if you have a bathtub and it's the drain is open, you're filling the bathtub. So as long as the drain's flowing out and you're filling the water up, you're never going to overflow. So you're going to have this balance and the water's going to go out. So that would be what you want your body to, what you want to have happen. Now, we see issues with histamine when we have one of two things happen. So when we'll talk about the methylation part, and that's when you plug it up. So we need to actually break down histamine in the body two different ways. So in the gut, you have diamine oxidase, which breaks down histamine, and then histamine and methyltransferase, which is part of the methylation pathway. So we'll go that. So that's the one part. And then the other part is filling up the bathtub. So what is causing your body to have more histamine? So we can have things like toxins. We can have underlying things in the gut like H. pylori, candida, parasites. This is really interesting, and not a lot of people know this, but there are actually certain histamine producing and mast cell activating bacteria. So we can look at certain strains that are you producing histamine, or is your gut microbiome producing histamine? So it's crazy.
Okay. Then you could look on a chart and say you're definitely going to have histamine because you have this bacteria in your gut.
In your gut, and those microbes themselves are actually histamine producing. And what's hard about that is because when histamine is a factor, a lot of our standard gut healing protocols backfire. So like probiotics, certain probiotic strains are histamine producing. So you have to be careful there. We have fermented foods will be a problem for people, bone broth, like all the regular, like, your gut, that's what you're doing. And then you're like, oh wait, I don't feel better. Why? Because you're
it's
like,
actually causing
this to be worse. So it's a whole different perspective. I think that's what's interesting. So we see that. And then we also see, when your immune system gets off balance, so from things like maybe mold or tick-borne infections or viruses, your mast cells start to release more histamine. So your mast cells get angry, basically, and we can get overproduction of histamine. So that's another issue. We can get immune system imbalances, and then sometimes people just can't break it down enough and overeat histamine foods.
Wow, so overeating histamine foods, plus you're building up histamine because you have the chronic infections, like something they didn't even know they had.
Exactly.
And they have just like a perfect storm. Wow.
And that's where a lot of people are in this perfect storm, and we're seeing it more and more. I think there's two aspects. I think we're seeing it more and more post-pandemic because of the virus, and then we're also just getting more education out there, so people know, wait, all of these symptoms, like we have 4 different types of histamine receptors. So when you're thinking of 4 different types of things,
4 different types.
4 different types. So
this is good.
So that's where like we think of the type histamine like one receptor, and that's where you think of allergies. So most people listening are probably like, well, do I have allergy symptoms? And that's when we're, looking at that. But then the second histamine receptor is in your gut. So that's why people take Pepcid, like an H2 blocker. Okay. So it actually, histamine helps produce stomach acid.
Whoa.
Yeah, so
okay, this is making sense. Keep going. This
so
is great.
if you take an H2, if you take Pepcid, like an H2 blocker, you're actually decreasing your stomach acid, which we don't want, but so that's a lot of times what you're given. You're given like, a Zyrtec and a Pepcid, and, they're just giving you medications that can make you feel better sometimes short term, but they're causing other problems, which we know about because we want to be able to digest our foods.
Oh.
So, and then it's like actually, it can affect your neurotransmitters. So it can affect your sleep-wake cycle, serotonin levels, like anxiety. So those are surprising things. Many of my women have migraines. So a lot of hormone issues, a lot of hormonal migraines, because estrogen can actually stimulate your mast cells to release more histamine too. So it's so like interesting to unravel. So it's like all of these full body symptoms sometimes can have this trigger from one thing that's causing havoc.
That's crazy. Truly, like I was thinking when you said it's like, well, let's, for example, like you take the histamine blocker, it reduces acid, you can't dissolve your food very well.
Yep.
If you get an infection extra in the food, let's say you go into the ballpark and you have a hot dog, has E. coli in it.
Yep.
And then it starts the whole process.
It's going to activate your immune system, which is going to say, I have E. coli, and I'm going to, produce, like now my immune system activated, I'm going to produce more histamine. And really, most people don't have unless you're working with a functional practitioner, they're not checking your microbiome. You're never even seeing, like, okay, maybe you have Morganella, maybe you have, Citrobacter or Klebsiella or some of these species that could be actually contributing to your issue.
So the histamine response for individuals out there, when they get a higher histamine response, like get a functional practitioner that would work with you, that would say, no, we need to look at the bacteria. And then that would tell me, like, in our culture, maybe I don't want to backtrack, but like you're starting to see like inflammatory foods. So the inflammatory foods is your body's responding to like eating high inflammatory foods because you may have this buildup of the bad bacteria. You may have this kind of infection going, and then it becomes like a catch-22.
Yes, and so what also can start to happen to people is they start to react to like healthy foods.
Oh.
So high histamine foods are foods that are like aged or fermented. So that's where we're thinking a lot of those gut healing foods.
Yes, totally.
You're now reacting to. Then there's things like tomatoes, strawberries that are histamine liberators. Yeah, so a lot of things.
Yes, keep going.
You're like a lot of the things that you think, bananas, things that you feel like.
Chick.
I know that you're doing that to be healthy. You want to eat these foods. So our goal is never for you to have. One of the things I think that starts to happen is once people realize, so one of the things we can do is pull some of these foods back. Do you feel better? If we just lower the foods that have histamine, does that make any difference? But then people can get, what I see a lot of times is people can get it like in this box where they're afraid to eat anything and they think they're going to react to everything. So our intention is actually to bring the body back into balance and expand your diet. So I'm never like a long-term just eliminate all of these things because we want nutrients, we want a variety of food, but we can use that as a tool to figure things out until we can get to the bottom of and rebalance.
That, like when you get to the bottom of it, like, okay, so you avoid foods because you're afraid of them. And then you can start to modulate like bacteria, as in you can maneuver your gut, get off a few things or prevent or reduce it, take some good nutrients. And that way you have the gut flora that could possibly like help you with sustaining proper histamine response.
Yeah, so a lot of times gut is where I start.
Yeah.
Because we need to know that gut bacteria. We need to see exactly what the histamine producers are, what the mast cell activators are, those kind of things. If there's candida, like we said, parasites, those things. We need to make sure that your secretory IgA is up and that your immune system is on track to be able to handle things that come in your body. And then we also need to make sure that your mucin layer is good. So, I know, we're moving into things.
I love it. No, keep going. This is what I want.
Okay, so we have, this is where so think of your gut lining like a shag carpet. So we have these layers and a lot of things are happening in these little shag, like you could like in between the fingers where they're breaking down things. So remember back at the beginning, I said diamine oxidase is how we break down the histamine in our food. If we don't have a good mucin layer at the gut lining, we're not gonna have good diamine oxidase production and we're not gonna be able to break it down.
Wow. Yeah. So like your gut lining, like if you have the carpet shag, I hope I'm not going away from what you're talking about. What would pull down that mucin
Well,
layer?
so another thing could be like, dysbiosis, like imbalance of bacteria.
Okay, yeah.
Low acromantia can be
Yeah.
another thing that you find that on a stool test.
Yeah.
So that's something. So we're looking at, doing a lot of healing in the gut lining to make sure that you have a good mucin layer. So there's a genetic component to the diamine oxidase gene. So I'm someone personally who has variants in my DAO pathway. So I would be someone who would be set up to not digest histamine as well. But really we find that if you have a balanced microbiome, if we get all of these things in place, you can tolerate the foods even with the genetic variant.
Oh, so a variant would be like a gene that maybe what we call mutated.
Yeah.
And then you wouldn't be able to break down the diamine oxidase, which helps you break down histamine. And then, but if you do help heal that gene, or help with it, is that related to MTHFR with that DAO?
They're two separate. So we have the DAO is here, so that's the factor in your gut.
Yeah.
And then we have methylation. So let's go there because I know you're not.
I love it. This is great.
Yeah. So then we have methylation. So you need to break down histamine in your cells through methylation. Okay. So there is a pathway that we have to go through. So often, a lot of us have the MTHFR genetic variant. So maybe you were eating folate or taking folic acid and you weren't able to absorb it as well because you have this variant. You need methylated folate. So a lot of us, which I'm one, give a lot of methylated folate. It's great. It starts the engine to really get your body methylating. The problem happens for some people is that if lower down that pathway, so you have to think of it like a tube in a way, it has to break it down and go the whole way out. If you have other variants, like in different genes, then sometimes you don't acetylate well, or you don't have other things that happen. So you rev that engine up, you give that methylated folate, and people can feel more anxiety. They can feel worse because you're not clearing
it out. So you have
activated
like a little bit back up in a way.
Yeah, like activated metabolites are what we see. So we see like, okay, you got this part going, but now we have some activated metabolites down here that can't go the whole way out. So sometimes when we're looking at methylation, and a lot of people, I don't think do this, but a lot of times when we're looking at methylation, sometimes we go from the bottom up.
Yep.
So instead of starting, if someone's not doing like a methylated B complex, we'll do like a B1, like a vitamin B1, kind of that will start the bottom of the pathway and we kind of work our way up.
That's amazing. Pathway. So you would say like you're just making sure like the clearing pathways have to be opened before you push any of the methylated Bs, like the B12s, because everybody's like B12, methylated B12, and then it would clear it open so they can actually drain it out.
Exactly, yes. And I think a lot of people aren't realizing that, so that's why, some people do fine. You could take a methylated B and you're like, that makes me have so much more energy, I feel great, but some people can take it and feel terrible.
Yeah, some people do. When they come to the office, they'll go, I give one person B12 because I do like a gene report. I want to ask you about that too. Yeah. But then they were like, my hands got real warm. They got real red, and their ears got real red. And I was like, heavens! I studied this, and trying to do it. And then to what you're saying is like, you don't want to make mistakes, like as you keep working with patients, but then you go, oh, I must have made them push harder.
That's exactly, so we're revving the engine up, so they're methylating now, but they're not able to have that whole pathway open.
Oh my goodness.
And what's interesting, the red hand, so that can be histamine because the flushing, like blood dilation. So it could just be making it more reactive.
That, to me though, like how you explained so great, because like if you have gut issues, if you have MTHFR, so you're saying too, like you explained so well, if you have different genes in different parts of your cell cycles that are probably not working at 100%.
Yes.
It's like you could pass off a hot potato to somebody else and they're like, yeah, I can't handle this.
Yes.
And then pass it off, something like that.
Yes. And it's very interesting because there's two different things that kind of come up here with the genetics. Like a lot of people live in an environment where all of us have different genetics. So if you and I live in the same house and we're exposed to the same things, one of us may be like, we're fine, we feel good because our body's detoxifying well, we're able to metabolize well, we do, and the other person is like, I'm having all of these symptoms. So you don't associate it with your environment because you think, well, it can't be, like, you're good, you don't have any symptoms.
Yeah. And
so a lot of it has to do with these pathways and how you individually can do it. So the other flip side, though, is I work with a lot of women who have migraines. And I feel like then we can get like, well, I just have the migraine gene, or I just have a headache gene. Like my mom has them, my sister has them. And you're like, no, actually, there is no migraine gene that I know of. I don't know, but it's just a lot of different variations. So if we optimize those pathways, we can actually get them to go away.
Wow. So you're able to assess the way they break down a component like histamine, how well they can clear it, if they're able to clear it. And even now, are you saying like you can actually find ways in their gene reports to like understand like what they break down and not break down?
Yeah, so you can, I think it's always a balance of, even like, a lot of people are saying this conference, it's always a balance of your genes are like 20%. So you have these pathways that might not be, but we just need to like optimize how we treat you in order to optimize your genetics. So if you're doing the right things, if you can detox, if you can metabolize, if you can eat healthy and not live in mold and all these things, then you can actually optimize the genes and you're not symptomatic. It's just when you're piling all of these things on, we get this immune system activation and all these things start to happen.
I think it's really great because when they say it's 20% genes, but you're saying too, like, yes, I guess your environment definitely affects your genes, but there's ways that you could nurture your genes, I guess, nurture them to where they don't respond as bad. Like, so like, let's say somebody couldn't eat eggs or something, and there could be something that prevents them from breaking down something in eggs, I guess. So you can nurture those genes and find out those genes and work with them to help your body break down things that should break down.
I think so. I mean, I see it every day where it's like, okay, we just do the right things and we look at it from, I think it's a really good point. Everything is your unique. And I'm saying this to you because I want everyone to hear that. Like, you are unique, and what's right for me and what's right for Chris, like, might not be exactly what's right for you. And I think we live in a world where there's so much information out there that everybody thinks, I heard this person say that, like, I have to do that. Yeah. And it's not the same for each person. And so it's like when you look at yourself as this unique being that has all of these unique, like, combination of things, then it's a little bit different for you, which can be hard because we want to get information. We want to hear, like, I have to do this, I have to do this. But sometimes I'm taking people off things because it's like, why are you on that? I heard this. I heard that. Well, no, you actually don't need any of that because we need to look at what's going on, like, for you.
So you're talking about, like, too, and people, you meet with them and they're like, what are you taking? And they're like, I got this and this and this and this. And it's like a whole bunch of...
Like 40 things. Or, they're like, I don't want that through my day. I'm not sure, like, how you're managing that, but we need to just, you can target what you need individually and listen to your body. If someone says, if you're listening to someone who's like, okay, this is the only way to go, and you do that and you don't feel well, then that's not the right way for you.
No, I mean, because it'd be like, do you ever feel like, I love all different types of diet. I like keto diets, and I love paleo diets. I love carnivore. But that would be like somebody saying, well, my friend ate carnivore diet and they lost 15 pounds.
Yes.
I did it and I did nothing. I actually had more bloating and gas and such. So to take into account, like, your genes are completely separate than your friend's genes. And you need somebody to actually functionally go in and check them out and just work with you. And then to, look at the big picture and go, well, you could take this B vitamin, your friend can't take this B vitamin. That's the way it would be like. So everybody's their uniqueness. And
I think when it comes to when it comes to this, really looking at if you can, especially when we're talking about like the histamine issues, if you can take off we need to all like optimize through that, like optimize the metabolism. And then if you can take off all of the assaults on your body, like if we can heal the gut, if we can have you, figure out if you have mold toxicity or you're living in a clean environment, make sure you're living in a clean environment, not have a lot of toxins, make sure there's not viral exposure, and we can bring those down. People just start, it's dramatic. I mean, you can have hives all over your body and then they just go away.
Wow.
And they're trying to give you shots and they're trying to give you steroids and they're trying to do all these and then, okay, they're just gone.
That's amazing.
5 years, 10 years, they're gone.
And they can't believe because you...
Yeah. I can breathe 5 years later. Like I haven't taken a deep breath for 5 years. Now I breathe quickly. Now I don't want to say that for everyone because
but you see it a lot.
happens quickly. Sometimes it takes just more steps. But sometimes it's just so dramatic.
So I know we can get into the, people out there could be like, hey, I don't know what to do with a gene test and stuff. But it's also like, if there's simple steps that you can do to reduce that environmental toxic load.
They don't always need it. I don't gene test I do that, but I don't have to do genetic tests on everyone because most of the time, so think about it like you didn't have these symptoms when you were 10.
Yeah.
A lot of people are like, well, I could eat fine. I could, do all these things. Now I react to everything, or now I can't, my stomach's upset, or I have like hormone imbalances, or, headaches or anxiety. But you didn't have those things, even with your same genetics when you were younger, but oftentimes it's like pile on over time, which got you to a place like, okay, now your body can't handle it. And especially I see a lot of menopausal women so estrogen is histamine activating, progesterone is histamine protecting.
Oh, can you say that one more time?
Okay, yes.
Okay, that was great.
Yep.
That was great.
So estrogen is histamine activating. So there is a receptor on your mast cell, which is a cell that degranulates and releases histamine.
Yep.
And so when you have higher levels of estrogen, often in perimenopause, we see that we have higher levels of estrogen and lower levels of progesterone. So we start to become estrogen dominant.
So it releases those. It's
releasing those. Progesterone helps you break down histamine. So progesterone actually helps with diamine oxidase, that enzyme I was telling you about.
Yeah.
So we're seeing okay, the diamine oxidase is not doing as well because we're lowering progesterone. Estrogen's higher, it's releasing histamine. And so
that's perfect storm.
Yeah, perfect storm. So it's like your perimenopause. Now, why didn't I ever have these symptoms before? Okay, because your hormones are affecting it.
Wow. So that would be like if somebody's in perimenopause, they're getting warmer, they're getting hot flashes. And I want people out there, when they say granulocytes, you just got to kind of picture in your head there's these little pockets and they have these little particles inside and they just go, they go and they spread out and they create their condition.
Yeah.
So when that happens though, I don't want to be general at this because I know you work with so many different people.
Yeah.
You're very specific. But what are some of the general things that you would say for somebody listening going, okay, maybe I'll get a genetics test. We can talk about it later. Or what would you be like? What are the first things you say? These are the things I would suggest you guys start looking into to do.
So one of the things you can do for a little bit of an evaluation is I do have a guide which I can share with you called the Essential Guide to Histamine Intolerance. So it is going to lay out those foods that we talked about. So it's going to go in, it's going to explain a lot of this. It's going to explain the symptoms, and it's going to lay out what are high histamine foods. So you could take 2 weeks, let's say, and pull those foods out and say okay, do I feel even any different? Sometimes people will notice, oh wow, that makes a difference for me. Another thing is just be in touch with how your body feels after you eat. And really, I don't know that we connect to our food the way we should. We should understand how when we eat, so everything you eat is actually affecting your body some way.
Yeah.
And we've become disconnected from that. So just evaluating oh wait, I ate that food and I'm feeling bloated. I'm feeling flushed. I'm feeling, any of these things. I have a headache now. So I like to connect people to what they eat and then look at those high histamine foods. Another thing I did not mention yet is you're going to be this is another bomb, but no matter what you eat, if you sometimes when you cook food, histamine can grow in food. So
Wow.
even if it's not a high histamine food, it can grow histamine. So you have to be really careful at restaurants because you don't know when they prepared the food. It's like meal preppers. If you're a meal prepper, you want to flash freeze. So if you prep on Sunday, flash freeze your meat.
No.
Yes. You have to make sure, because it can grow in your meat. So you don't really want to eat your meat after 24 hours because if you have, some histamine intolerance issues.
So when you say flash freeze.
Yeah, so I have prep. So if you're going to do like a meal prep, then prepare your food and then, maybe put it in a glass container or something. We don't love plastic, so we're going to do glass and then just freeze that and then heat that back up when you're ready to eat it.
Yeah, that's right.
Because we don't want to just have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday in there. Because I know, if you're working, those are things that people do to eat healthy. And so it just makes you think about it a little bit more.
It's amazing. So, and it's no way we do take those steps. I love the healthy journey though, because sometimes people are like, well, am I doing this wrong? No, you just learn as you go along.
Yeah.
And even I remember when they said kombucha, I had a yeast issue. And then I got this report, guys. It's like, well, you can do kombucha and have higher histamine and some higher yeast. And I was like, dang it.
I know. And you're like, it tastes good, right?
I was loving it.
I know.
I don't drink Coke or pop or anything. And all of a
what
sudden,
can I drink? I
took
know.
this away from me.
I feel that too.
I mean, you get to the point where I'm like,
I know.
you get on your phone, you're just like, well, there goes that.
And we don't want you to feel that way.
Yeah,
but
we don't.
We're just investigating.
Yeah. I think it's the beauty of the journey where somebody has lots of pain or inflammation. You're given those steps of how can we reduce things, but not take everything away from you. So now, when we learn MTHFR, the possibility, they do start to take away these inflammatory states. Is there a particular, if you do want to go that route, is there a blood test or a gene test that you like to start off with, just a standard or something that would give you a little bit more insight as a practitioner?
I do have to say so testing is expensive, and I try to recognize that because I get that it can add up. So what I actually do is I meet with someone and I don't really lay out testing of everybody gets all the same tests because I meet with them. We do a 90-minute consult. We really go into everything unique to them, and then I try to prioritize. Okay, from where you are, all of these things going on, what's going to move the needle the most.
Yeah.
So then we work up. And we say, okay, well, we're going to work here, and then we move the needle to the next place and the next place. And I feel that's a little bit different for everyone.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's really good because even in practice sometimes I do, with acupuncture and Chinese medicine and even biofeedback or any type of herbal.
Yeah.
I find myself where I could give a lot more vitamins and minerals at the beginning. But as well as when somebody gives you an idea of what your symptom, you go, oh, I definitely have an idea what that is.
Yeah.
And I'll start them off on an herb or something or a couple of herbs which I think is really good for them. And like you said, just reduce this, take this for 3 weeks.
Yes.
Come back. Let me see what it is. Because we get in the danger, I guess, like you say, because everybody's different. I just don't want to throw every lab test at you right at bed. I always say, give me about a month or 6 weeks. Yeah. And if I have to do any other test, especially with infections, that's what I'll do too. So that's a beautiful thing that your practice goes in and tries to give, we can monitor and then we see what we can do to help save people money and time and such, right?
I do, just because I know, it's the time. It does take time for the practitioner, so it's one of those more. How it's not insurance based, it isn't, and it can't be because we can't do the level of care that we want to in that. Yeah. So I'm always trying to say, okay, you're the unique person, and how are we doing now for histamine? I do have a program called the histamine deactivation method. That is a group program that is a lower ticket cost where we do have protocols that, it's okay, these are things that we want to do. And we do heal the gut in that program too, because I just think that's an essential, it's hard to get past it if you don't have a good balance of microbes. And we were talking about, there can be histamine producing microbes in there that you can do all the other right things and still have those.
Still have them going because some people... if you start doing the work now, doing the steps of healing the gut, you don't have to worry about spending so much money. I think encouragement comes after a while. You're oh, this got a little better.
Yes.
This had some improvement. My headache sort of went away, 30%, 40%. And then I think it motivates people to go, I guess push the extra mile, right? And that's happening.
I know. And I always say the magic happens, you probably feel this way too, is the magic happens when you're making choices because of the way you feel, not because I told you
Yes,
to do
exactly
it.
right.
That's like I always say, because it's like, okay, you're just choosing that because you feel amazing and you know the difference and how you feel when we do it this way, and then they do it and they're compliant because they feel good.
I think compliance too. I think that it's refreshing when you have practitioners that really look at the single person and like, you could have 3 different supplements or vitamins for this person or test compared to somebody else, because, we're getting to an age where even in my world, in alternative medicine or functional medicine, you can just like look at an improper ratio and just be like, here, take this, and this, and then people get burnt out on that.
Yeah.
And but one thing though is for certain though, I think that the way you approach it has really shown, like through your work, how it helps those processes, the histamine response, and it gives you like this, I hope it's this basis or foundation that these can lead to hormonal imbalances.
Yes.
These could lead to fertility issues. Is that what happens?
It is. I've been on fertility summits because it can lead to fertility, and that's where you're not even thinking of all these connections and talking about, like we could talk for an hour here just about histamine and hormones even. I mean, like, that's where that's where I just think it's this whole, you go on these paths because and actually the people I work with led me here, because we're going through, okay, you have migraines, you have hormone imbalance, we have gut issues, and looking at common threads, and it's like, wow, a lot of people have histamine issues.
Yeah.
And so when we bring the histamine issues back, when we, balance the immune system, heal the gut, all these things, then the symptoms clear up. And we think about our symptoms and we look at the roots of why they're happening.
That's really good. When you think of symptoms, like if you identify it and realize that a practitioner or you yourself, the patient, recognizes a symptom and knows that there is a pretty decent cause, like, from this. Do you feel like you talked about connecting like in that way? Like if somebody said, like, I know that this symptomatology is related to inflammation of histamine in the upper part of my gut, do you feel like you have to help people to also nurture like their connectivity to their body, like, their organs, or you know what I mean? Because there's an emotional side and a spiritual side to something.
We do nervous system. I do that with everyone I work with.
Oh, really?
Yes. So I think we didn't go there yet, but
I'm sorry, I wasn't trying to jump the gun.
No. We just did it didn't come up. So I find that huge. I feel like I bring in. So, really physiologically, when we're not in our parasympathetic nervous system, then we're not able to digest. We're not, the microbes are able to overgrow because, like we said, we're not digesting. So, when you're in your parasympathetic nervous system, you're going to release stomach acid. You're going to release digestive enzymes. You're going to do all the things you need to actually digest your food, which will optimize your microbiome. When you're in the sympathetic nervous system, your blood's in your limbs. You're running from a tiger. You're going. Totally. And so if we also get to this point where our body starts to like be in the sympathetic nervous system all the time, and it's like, I'm reacting. So I do nervous system work with everyone I work with, just because I feel like you need to look at it from different angles. It's not just about those tests and those numbers. Yep. It's about past traumas. It's about your mindset. I mean, there's a thing called the placebo effect.
Yeah,
I mean,
completely, yes.
If people can heal from water pills, if you believe it.
Oh,
so.
I heard a story, and I think we talked about it on a podcast, and they talked about where it was a nurse in this, I can't remember which war, and she had filled up a syringe of saline fluid. And told the doctor it was morphine.
Oh, wow.
And the doctor believed it. And they told the patient, and the patient completely was like, okay. And calmed right down.
Yes.
Because the energy was passing through.
Yes.
And I think it's what happens to, like, with the practitioner. Like it happens to you, like you put a lot of energy into it and stuff. And so people feel that from you, And so with this though, I mean, we know that you can get help with all aspects, even spiritual, emotionally.
Yes.
And you start to connect, like say mind, body, spirit. Do you feel like when you start to advance somebody out there's listening going like, I think I need, her to go work with me. Do you find though that people's are more willing to stay in the routine, like stay going when they're doing smaller steps, or do you feel like or do they need big steps? Like, what do you think?
Yeah, so I have a health coach that works with me, and like I always tease them, like we're the yin and the yang, because I'm like, I want everyone to have everything, and then she's like, okay, we do one thing. She like brings it, so we're good in that way. But at the same time, you do need to do small steps, because your body can only handle so many things at once. So we all want to accelerate, and we want to feel better, and we want it quickly. That's the way our world is. But you have to put all the pieces together, and you have to get to a place where like, okay, you can get that in, and your body can handle what we're doing. And then we move into the next thing and into the next thing. So it is a process, and everybody has a different momentum. Like I said, you see these transformations where it happens so quickly, but a lot of times it's just we say we're health detectives, and we're putting all of these pieces in place. So you're going forward, and taking little steps. If your body's responding, we're making progress, we're on the right track.
I appreciate that, because I think that, I can see it in your eyes that you go, hey, if you look at somebody and people can say, Doc, I don't know if I feel any better. And then you go, have you slept any better? Yeah, slept a lot better. Yes. You have bowel movements? Yeah, I poop maybe twice a day. Yes. And then, you're actually like a person that helps somebody on their journey to like just sort of guide them, like hold their hand and say, hey, it's going to be okay. Yes. Like if you just sort of calm down, we can go forward. So, and that's what I like about with your page and with what you show. It's like, it is like really steps that are simplified and put in great order. So, I mean, and one of the things I think that I was so excited about when Bev told we were going to talk about is like, this could be like ongoing, like we could do, because you have so much great information. It's like, I would like to do another one like with we can go like deep into hormone and
like that. Yeah,
like hormone and infertility and such. I think that'd be really cool.
Wonderful, yeah, because I said like we could do an hour just on that. We can do a whole
hour. I know,
because there's a lot there.
This is going to be good, because I know at the conferences. I'm just saying I'm always sensitive because there's time frames and stuff. But we'll get on.
Yeah,
we'll do some more. We'll do more. It's like this is fun. So okay. Now, do you have, like, on your website, can you tell us your website? Can you tell us where to find you, and how do people get in contact with you?
Yes, so my website is megmill.com. It's just megmill.com. I do have a podcast called A Little Bit Healthier, so come over there. We have a lot of great health information. And I'm over on Instagram at Dr. Meg Mill. And I also do have, like I said, the free guide that if we link it, or you can get it on my website, about all the things you need to know. I've really tried to make it comprehensive, so it's a good place to start. And I do have a program called the Histamine Deactivation Method too.
Truly, I really appreciate it, because when you look at the program, when it says everything you need to know, it's like, read it like it's like a novel of your life. Like not to be overwhelmed. It's like, no, these are the steps, and they can be concentrating from like over histamine response. Like all these little things, all these little symptoms, you go, wow. Yes. I have all those. I'm like, it could be as simple as taking some things out of your diet. Yeah. It could be as simple as having Epstein-Barr virus. We never know. Yes. That's what I love about it. But I mean, I'm so grateful you got to come with me today.
Thank you so much.
I want our combo to be like super, just smooth and just like flowing. And what we're going to do is we're going to put on the show notes. We'll put your guide. And if anybody out there has any more questions, remember, follow her and send her some comments and suggestions. If you like what you heard today on the Ancient Health Podcast, just like and subscribe, give us a thumbs up, and then hit the little bell. I'm always reminded to hit the little bell so that you know which time the next new episode comes out. So, Dr. Meg, thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, everybody, from all of us here, take it easy.